Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the new character being released, Harumasa. Where is Miyabi anyway? This is going to be probably the first half of version 1.4's new character. I want to talk about some pre-farming guides of what I am thinking of right now, which other characters I'm also planning to build to make him better, and if any of you want like pre-farm better gear, sometimes if you only release it like 1 week before, some of us might not have enough time to farm. So I want to share with you my thoughts in this video as well. First things first, if you see on screen here, he is an electric attack DPS. It's the first of the kind, the first S rank electric DPS. The only other option right now that we have in the game is like A rank Anton. And of course, some people like play Anbi and eventually Yanagi, who is also going to be a slightly more DPS-y character. The question is, can both of them work well together? More information has to come about for Harumusa's official kit as well. But one thing to note for those of you Yanagi wanters out there also, and you want to play like a mono electric team, Yanagi actually can be played as a sub DPS if you build her for a lot of energy. So she just comes on field, just does her dashy bursters to do that disorder damage and then switch off field. Something like a sub DPS in a sense, but does require a little bit more investment. We talk about it more on our Yanagi guide videos, but which is separate from this video. So what do I want to share with you? What am I going to be building on him? What are my thought process? He's a bow user, he's an attack DPS. So let's first things first, talk about the easier things, which is probably going to be what gear do we put him in? So, and then we will talk about team compositions and W engines that I probably am going to pre-farm. So attack DPSs, based on tradition, has always been more crit scaling. Anomaly DPS are like more anomaly scaling. So the one that I'm looking forward to is a Woodpecker Electro 2-piece. Right now, if you haven't farmed too much of this, getting a 2-piece crit rate is definitely very good. Whether he uses basic attack, dodge, EX special attack, or maybe he has a new mechanic altogether, like maybe Amber from Genshin Impact, Ganyu from Genshin Impact, who has that charge, bow shot, aiming shot mechanic, then it might be totally different. So 4-piece, I wouldn't go all the way out to farm it. Simply put, at this early stage, 2-piece is always great, because if they introduce a new set, you will still be left with like 1 2-piece, and it's very versatile because you can just switch them around. So crit rate, I think I'll farm for this one. Puffer Electro is also another one that is really good regardless of what you scale off with, just the 2-piece over here. And last but not least, of course, I will be thinking of getting the electric set here, 2-piece Thunder Metal as well. The 4-piece Thunder Metal could be interesting for those of you who already have it, because if you play in like mono shop teams with like Rena and stuff like that, you'll be able to use the full 4-piece. But for now, this early stages, without any official information, if you are planning to like farm now, you are Hayabusa main, 2-piece electric, 2-piece pen, 2-piece crit is likely my recommendation. Then comes the next part, right? What am I planning for? What main stats am I looking for? Likely for the Partition 6 is going to be attack percentage most of the time. The only exception is if you're farming for an energy regen one. So I'll keep those two things in mind. Assuming that he's an attack scaling DPS, of course. It'll be weird if an attack character scales with HP or defense, right? That'll be quite interesting one day, because it's like contradicting. For Partition 5, I think electric damage bonus is likely going to be the way to go. But of course, I can see a case that if he scales with pen, he could switch to pen easily, or attack, for example. So, but most of the time, like a 95% confident is probably going to be electric damage bonus. For Partition 4, I think crit rate, for those of you who we right now don't really know whether his signature is going to be like crit damage or whether his others is going to be like crit rate. But I think crit rate is going to be like for people who are just getting into attack DPSs, maybe you've been playing Anomaly for a while, farming crit rate gets it up very quickly. Is probably my recommendation for most people. And crit damage, of course, if you have like excellent, you farm every other stat and you have excellent crit rate already, and you don't care whether he scales with crit rate, his signature is like crit rate or crit damage. Crit damage is probably the second one, in my opinion. So that is for these sets. The next thing, of course, that I want to talk about is team composition, because these takes a much longer period of time to farm as well, right? You need a lot more investment in these characters over a long period of time to build. Who are very interesting? I think the best out of all of them, probably my recommendation for electric main DPS, is going to be Rena. If you have her on your account, build her. She is very strong for electric teams. The reason why, and of course those of you who don't have her, I'll touch on a lot of other options as well, but this is just like preliminary thoughts. She is an excellent electric buffer out of all of them. She excels the most, and this is finally the time that she starts to shine with an electric main DPS. You get pen, which benefits all sorts of DPS. You extend the duration of shock, which is just great if you're running the 4-piece Thunder Metal Electric set, the 4-piece Electric Metal set, which gives attack even longer when the enemy is shocked. At the same time, when enemy is shocked, you also increase their electric damage by 10%. So a very universal buffer, requires very little on-field time. Does one rotate in. If you have an M1, it's obviously the best, but I'm planning to play her just with the base copy as well. Her buff is like 5-6 seconds uptime, and she's very, very strong. If you have M1, it's even more fantastic, and definitely you should use her. But even if you don't, she's quite fine as well. That's one of the team members I'm thinking of. The second team member that I'm also like thinking of course, is a character like Ting-Yi. Ting-Yi is probably really, really strong electric teams. You probably are more or less set if you're trying to like tackle electric content. Those of you who don't have her and you're looking for a replacement, RMB Damara is decent as well, but RMB Damara is not as good as Ting-Yi, of course. Some other thought process of characters would be in this roster here is you could play with other buffing characters in the second slot. If they require a bit more field time, Lucy is probably going to be good, but not as good as, for example, the likes of Rina. You can play with like shorter buffers, for example, like Nicole here, which shreds the enemy defense. These are probably like tier 2. Rina is probably like tier 1. Once more official information comes out, I can help you rank it in order, so stay tuned to the channel for that. But these are some of my top picks so far. The two characters that I think are interesting and worth looking at are both in version, the upcoming version as well, both Yanagi and Lighter. They can fill in very nicely in the second slot for where Rina is if you're running like a double DPS, and in the third slot you could of course run Lighter instead of characters like Ting-Yi. The other option available is for those of you who have Caesar. Again, she's super flexible. She can be played in like position 4. For A ranks, I need more information to comment, so at this stage I would reserve my comments for the rest of them. We're just talking about preliminary ideas. And if you're finding value in this video so far, I'm going to talk about W engines in a bit, but do help me like and subscribe this video if you find it really informative, you want more of such content. I'll likely be doing one for the next character coming out tomorrow as well. Hopefully it's Miyabi, but maybe not, who knows. Yet to be seen. And now let's like jump in with the attack W engines. I think that there's no need to find from the other sections for the agent specialties here, like going into stun, going to anomaly, going to support and all that stuff, because attack has very, very good W engines. We will talk about the free-to-play ones and then we will move on to the rest of them. I think the Starlight engine is going to be really, really good. It's totally free. You can get a lot of attack from this one alone, assuming he scales with attack. Dodge counter, quick assist is very easy to proc. He doesn't really care whether he's going to be a basic attacker, whether he's going to be an EX special attack user. Everyone you can like dodge counter or quick assist as long as you're like playing with them a little bit on field. Quick assist can be proc by a support like Rina, for example, or like Lucy, like Nicole. So this is very universal Starlight engine, and probably like S5 Starlight engine is going to be very competitive for a lot of characters, which is great for any of you who are trying that route. Other than that, what are my other thoughts? Overall, I think the rest of them are so okay. Housekeeper definitely not very great because of the physical damage. He's electric scaling as of now. Starlight engine replica also not good. It's physical damage again. Drill Axis gives you a nice electric bonus, but it does require you to launch an EX special attack or chain attack and stuff like that before you get a buff from your basic attacks and dash attacks, which is very conditional, so our reserve recommendation is also like energy regen, which we don't know whether he's going to need a lot of at this point of time. I think Starlight engine is like safe to just pick up. For Cannon Rotor, this is also very universal. For those of you who have it, it helps you complete your crit rate stats. You get a lot of an increase in attack as well. This is one very good contender because it's super generic. You can slap it on anyone. So Starlight Engine, Cannon Rotor, likely really good. Steel Cushion, not so great. Brimstone is probably also on top, the top 3 in terms of generalistic. The rest of them does need more information for us to give like a better recommendation. Otherwise, you can never really go wrong with like massive stats of like the limited gear as well. If you just care about the 713 base attack together with like the massive crit rate that you give, the rest of them is like so-so. It's just a massive stat stick from any other limited ones that you have. Those are my early thoughts. Of course, we'll put an updated guide on the channel once we have more official information. I just want to put this out as early as I can so you guys can maybe farm in advance. And at this point, I highly recommend you check out these 2 other videos. One of them talks about Rina and why she is worth investing in. Check out this video, and thank you guys again so much for your attention. See you in the next video.